Well, today we got a special video. I've got a special guest. I'm actually at a special location. Today we're going to talk about saving money in your lawn care business. And I know that I've talked to a lot of people in the lawn care business. Sometimes one of the most heartbreaking scenarios is where you see somebody that knows a lot about lawn care and is a great technician and takes pride in their lawn care work, but unfortunately they don't have the business skills to be successful. I've even seen the opposite happen, where you see somebody that's not exactly great at lawn care, but they're a great business person and they have success. We're going to try to address that topic today in this video and give you a specific thing that you can be doing to help make more money, put more money into your business for all the hard work that you do. I got a special guest. Looking forward to this video. Let's get started right now. So today I'm here with my friend James Bartley. If you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you may have seen James on some of the other videos, particularly the one that he's most known for is the calibration video we've done years ago. James, thanks for being with us on this. And we're here at your, I guess, your home away from home. This is the Harrell's plant, and James actually is a Harrell's rep, and we're going to be talking today about how to save money for your business.
Jason, welcome to our Sylacauga plant. This is when my customers like you place orders for fertilizer or chemistry. It's shipped from our Sylacauga location, and there's a lot going on here. You probably hear a lot of noises of forklifts and trucks, but this is our area place to ship from, and a lot goes on here.
Yeah, I think this is my second time being here, and it's been a while, and I noticed there's tons of fertilizer out here, even late in the summer. And we're going to actually go in the air conditioner, get away from the noise here in a minute. But all right, so what's the point of the video today? Today I said we're talking about saving money, and the specific way we're going to talk about saving money in today's video is through what's called an EOP. You may say, Jason, what's an EOP? An EOP is an early order program, and this is something that lawn care companies are using to their advantage to get sometimes a better price or better terms on products to help them keep more cash in their pocket for their business. So that's why we came out here to Harrell's. James is my Harrell's sales rep. So Harrell's is a supplier. They sell fertilizer. They also sell different herbicides, fungicides, insecticides. Particularly the ones we're going to be talking about today is from Envu. So Envu makes a lot of the products that if you've watched my channel for a while, you're probably familiar with. Products like Spectacle, products like Tribute Total, Celsius. These are under the Envu label. And also in 2024, Envu acquired some of the portfolio from a company that you knew of as FMC. So some of the products that were under that FMC umbrella, like Dismiss NXT, and others, are now a part of this Envu family. So we're going to be talking about broader spectrum of how to work with an early order program, more specifically some of the products that are available through Envu. And then we're going to talk about how a sales rep and how a company like Harrell's works with Envu to make it all happen and ultimately benefit the end user, the lawn care business, and in some ways even the customer, because you can give them a better rate because you're getting a better deal on the products. James, I know you work for Harrell's, and then we're talking about Harrell's today. We're also talking about Envu, but one of the things I think it can be confusing for some people is like, how does a company like Harrell's, who I think of as like my fertilizer supplier, and if I need to buy some kind of herbicide, I'm gonna call you and get Harrell's to send it to me. So what's the relationship like between what would you call Harrell's, a distributor, versus Envu, which is a product manufacturer, I guess you'd say? How does those two work together?
Well, as a distributor, we listen to what the manufacturer says, what is in their early order program, what are they offering, and it's up to us to communicate to our customers, the end user, what those programs and the benefits from the EOP program would be. And so we get that information from Envu, and things start really ramping up about this time of the year, because Envu has their Envu Now solutions, and that starts August 1. So it's a real ramp up time for us, this video being in the end of July. So I talk to my customers about the benefits and the things that Envu are offering through their early order program, answer any kind of questions, let them be real clear on what the opportunities are for them, and then they may place an order and get that delivered and off to the races to save money and to be an efficient, profitable business.
Okay, well that makes a lot of sense. Let's continue this conversation in the air conditioning. Okay, so James and I do spend a lot of time outside. We both work in lawn care for a long time, and not afraid of the heat, but the air conditioner sure is nice on a hot day like today. So I've got a lot of products here, James, and of course these are ones you're going to be very familiar with, and we're going to talk about some of these. Today's video is sponsored by Envu, and so you're going to notice a lot of products that either have Envu on the label or the FMC products that are now under the Envu umbrella. So, but again, we're talking about EOP and how that can save money, and so we're going to talk about some of the specifics. And just so you're wondering, like the actual Envu EOP program, I'll put a link in the description to that, or if you have a Harrell's rep, you can contact them and say, hey, what's the EOP program? What are the deals out there? James, let me ask you a question. You have been in the lawn care business, if I remember correctly, since 1978, okay?
That's a long time.
And been on the in the business and now working with Harrell's as a supplier. Talk to me a little bit, both from your experience being in the business and now working with a lot of other people. Like, what is the EOP program? How have you seen people use that to their advantage for their business, and how do you recommend people use that?
I think of 3 or 4 different things that are important. One is to be able to get a next year's product at this year's prices. So in January, sometimes manufacturers have to go up because raw materials may go up and the manufacturing process may go up. So you could possibly dodge a price increase by getting next year's products this year at this year's prices. A second thing is to secure your product. You know, in recent years, we've had struggles with the supply chain, and even manufacturers are vulnerable to having problems, you know, getting the materials they need to manufacture the products they need. So securing the product now, so you might not have to worry about next spring any issues with a supply chain or running out and you not having the product available. So have it on your shelf and you know you've got it, you've secured that product. The other thing is possibly the savings from rebates are very attractive. And what I usually do is work with a customer, an end user, a lawn care operator, and show him what his in-season purchases were. If he has already been using products like Celsius or Spectacle in season, he might look at those volumes and they may qualify for some kind of rebate, some level of rebate where he gets a discount in rebated dollars by putting it in the early order program instead of buying it all along in season. And so there's savings to be secured from going with the EOP. I think maybe one of the most attractive things for lawn care operators is the payment terms. So in the case of Envu, you order products from, say, August 1 to maybe the first week in December is their early order program for most of their products. And you can get those products, secure them, get them in your warehouse, in your shop, and not have to pay for them until next June of next year. So from a cash flow standpoint, that gives the lawn care operator an opportunity to save the money up and pay for it later, maybe even use the product and be paid for those services before you owe Envu the money for the EOP purchases.
Yeah.
So that's a very attractive benefit. I've seen some guys do that just to help them with cash flow at the end of the year. So it get them through the winter and allow them to not have to go borrow money sometimes. So you're kind of helped a lot from those terms.
If I understand you correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I were to wait till January the 1st to order, I potentially could be paying a higher price, and then also it's going to be due like my money's going to be due 30 days later, where if I would have ordered it in August, as far as Envu's goes, I might not have to pay for it until the following June, so I get much more friendly terms and probably the lowest price I'm going to find for for quite some time.
Yeah, it really helps your cash flow, allows you to secure that product, have it ready, and not have to pay for it possibly after you've already used the product in your services and have been paid from your customer, the homeowner, and then you have the cash flow to pay for your products from the early order program that's due in June.
Yeah, one of the things you said that I thought was helpful is like because lawn care people get out there, we're spraying yard, we're not always thinking about how many bottles of Celsius did I use last year. So you can go in your software on the Harrell side and say, hey Jason, last year you used X number of bottles of Spectacle, X number of bottles of Tribute Total, X number of bottles of Celsius. If you order those now, that's probably what you're going to be using this next year. You might as well order them now, where if I'm just out there guessing, say, I probably need some of that, and then you end up running out come June and got to order it more at a higher price, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One thing I've been able to do with my lawn care customers is look at their in-season purchases. There was a couple of situations, I'll give you one example without naming anybody, but I said, how much Celsius did you buy during the season, and they gave me the number of bottles, and I said, I calculated it with the early order program, and they were going to get like $1,000 back, and they didn't realize that they could get that kind of rebate with putting their in-season purchases into the early order program. So some of these savings can be significant.
Yeah.
So.
Help me understand, specifically with the Envu program here, and other manufacturers have early order programs as well. At Harrell's, do y'all have an early order program for some of the Harrell's products? We
do for some of the non-agency and maybe quasi-agency type products. Harrell's has some private label type products that we have an EOP for. With terms and possibly some rebates depending on the purchase level. So, but mostly it's a lot of the manufacturer like Envu that really take advantage of the early order program because their rebates are significant and terms are excellent.
I'll just speak for myself here briefly on EOP and the way I look at stuff, because there's a number of things that goes on in my head as we kind of approach EOP season. There's couple sides. One side of the argument is, I don't want too much money sitting on the shelf, if you will. So I don't want to just buy lots of stuff and it just sit there for years, because that's not making me any money, even if I got it at a little bit lower price. The other side of it is, I don't want to pay more than I have to get the quality products that I'm looking for my business. So I think that's what's helpful is people like James, working with him, he'll send me the EOP programs. He can send me, hey Jason, here's what you ordered last year, and he can probably access it faster than I could, digging through a bunch of old invoices trying to figure out what I ordered. And then even, talking through my plan, somebody like James, I'll say, James, I'm thinking about tweaking something a little bit next year. What do you think about this? And he can give me his experienced opinion based on what he knows, and from a cost standpoint, it's going to cost you more. I could see a benefit of it over here, but it may not be quite as good on this weed, or So those things have been real helpful for me, and I know you've helped a lot of other people with that. Let's talk just for a minute about specifically Envu's EOP program. So without going into specific numbers, again, I'm going to put a link in the description that you can look at the actual details. But if I'm understanding correctly, you get a discount on some things, as well as you get the terms, and then there's some sort of deal where if you hit a certain volume, you get a stronger discount? How would you explain to a lay person who's not super familiar with EOP what Envu is offering?
Yeah, and so you're exactly right the way you stated it. There are some cases where if you reach certain volumes, you get additional rebate over and above, say, what the smaller orders would bring. So there's a volume rebate that comes when you hit certain numbers. So I could help my customers see what they ordered in season plus what they might have ordered in the early order program the previous year. They may reach a new tier and gain some additional rebate because of their volume.
Wrapping up here, I tried to bring a selection of different products. I think most of these are going to be included in the EOP, from Spectacle, Revolver, Tribute Total, Celsius. We got Durentis, which is a good product for armyworms, insect control, grubs, things like that. So again, check out the link for that below. But let's end on a little bit of a practical level tip here. And James, somebody again that's been doing this forever and worked with a lot of people and seen people do things right and wrong. And you always tell me there's more than one right way to do it. So I'm sure you've seen people approach it differently and have success both ways. But what would be just some advice to somebody, starting out in the lawn business or maybe early on that you would give them just in general advice?
What comes to my mind is have your plan, your program, what type of treatments you're going to do, and bring your distributor rep in on what you're doing and let him give you the options and the products that best fit that. And there's, like you just said, there's a lot of right ways to do it. And so tell your rep what you're planning on doing and what you want to achieve so that they can come alongside you and give you the best options for you to reach your goals. Sometimes they kind of keep it a secret. It would be in the lawn care operator's best interest to allow his distributor rep to come in, look at what program you have, what you're trying to accomplish, and for him or her to give you the best options and the best products like these to accomplish your goals.
You know, if I was to answer that, I would say ultimately quality wins the day, and I think that's where Harrell's and Envu comes there. We talk a lot about marketing. This question was asked the other day, like, what's a marketing tip? And somebody spoke up and said, you know what, the yards that stick out the best looking yards in the neighborhood ultimately wins the day. I think that's even more so true from a weed control and fertilization standpoint.
That's right.
You want to have the best marketing, have the best looking yard on the street, and ultimately that's the neighbor that gets asked, like, hey, who's doing your yard? And so obviously Harrell's and Envu are part of what helps me have the best looking yard on my street. At least, hey, my yard's the best looking on my street. I don't have much doubt about that, but also trying to deliver those results to the customer, and with EOP, hopefully keep my cost and keep my business profitable. So thanks, James. Appreciate you joining in on this and your wisdom and guest to the program, and thanks a lot for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
I hope that was helpful for you. And again, go to the link below, check out the specifics on the Envu early order program. And I do encourage you to take advantage of this. It definitely is a way to improve your cash flow for your lawn care business. Sometimes you can take that money, if you had a marketing plan, when do you want to launch your marketing plan for lawn care? Typically it's going to be, early spring or late winter, February, March, April time frame. Well, wouldn't it be great if you had the money freed up that you could launch that marketing campaign, pick up the new customers, go spray the new customers' lawns, and not have to pay for the product that you used on those customers' lawns until June after you already been paid on those lawns. And that's kind of the mindset I think you have to get around of what EOP can do for your business. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.